Hey everybody, welcome to the Sideline Crowd. I'm your host, Skylar Timmons, and today is a special episode for a couple of reasons. One, it's kind of the reboot of the Sideline Crowd. I've been away for a while, just kind of working on my sim broadcasts and whatnot, and wanted to bring it back. We're all in quarantine. That's kind of the hype of reunion episodes. And so today, we have a reunion of sorts of the Owl's Nest podcast, which was the official podcast of the Owlz, the rookie advanced affiliate of the Los Angeles Angels. And so joining me once again after a long time is Quentin Denny.
What's going on?
Connor Cude.
What's up, boys?
And Nathan Price.
Present.
Let's go. Let's go.
Got it.
We're back.
Nailed the intros.
Woo. We can go home. We're done. End it right there.
So for people that didn't know that may be watching this, so the four of us, we worked with the Owlz last summer and kind of the four of us came together to create the podcast for the team where we just kind of talk about the team's progress and interview some of the players that were there and just kind of pass the time, give us something to do for the team.
Number one Pioneer League podcast.
And make marketing efforts.
Yeah.
That was the main goal.
And to show Ogden that we have a better podcast, which we did.
Yes.
And a better social media presence in general. But
Yeah.
we can get into that later.
Just better quality human beings. And
Better looking,
most talented.
Better sounding.
handsome.
Only the background crew, though, not the team. The team was
True.
way better.
Those guys
The records
are-
were
oh, yeah.
incredible.
Justin Yurchek. Let me tell you about that man.
He's in the show. You can go play as him.
Yeah.
I know what I'll do.
And Deshaun, and then so this is off task. This is off topic immediately, off the rails. So MLB The Show 20, day one, they didn't have Jeremiah Jackson. I've been looking for him for months, just to do the player search. They had Deshaun Knowles, but I kept looking for Jeremiah every day. And then just the other day, I think he finally made it into the live roster. Here in June, you can play as Jeremiah Jackson in MLB The Show 20.
There we go.
There you go.
Finally hit bombs.
No David Clausen, though.
Oh, one of these days.
But, yeah, we just kind of want to back on topic now. We just kind of want to catch up with you guys, see how you're doing, and then we'll get back to talking some baseball because it's back. Lots to talk about, a lot of opinions to share, hot takes. And so we'll just kind of have fun with it, see how this thing goes. So I just kind of wanted to start off. How you guys been doing? It's been a while since the four of us has gathered together for a podcast. What have you been up to? Quinn, what have you been up to?
Counting down the days till I could talk to you again.
Waiting for you to go home.
Waiting for you to come back.
Quinn's been recording the podcast every week since the season ended.
Hey guys, welcome to the Owl's Nest. It's me. No, I'm just up here at school, graduate this semester. Just, hanging out, doing things you can do in Idaho, which aren't too much right now.
Yeah. I have graduated. Quinn and I were hanging out up at school together after the season. That was fun. Playing softball.
Killing it. Playing short, batting fourth, of course.
We'll get into that later.
Killing it? Do you mean killing your team's batting average or killing...
Of course.
Killing the amount of errors or...
Well, we'll get into that later. Come on.
Okay, sorry, my bad.
Let's move on from that.
So Quinn, you're still at school, having fun, getting ready for baseball.
Murals can't show off the skills.
Yeah.
So,
Do you just
sad
sit in
time.
your apartment most of the time?
No, I hang out with my girlfriend and do some other things, but I mean,
What?
Oh.
but that's basically it.
Well, that's doing better than most.
Yeah.
There's not much else to do.
Yeah. There wasn't much to do in Idaho before anyways.
Yeah,
Do you have to wear a mask when you're with her?
always 6 feet apart.
Yeah.
It's like that movie or whatever. I didn't even see it, but just the trailers. With
the movie
one of the
with
Sprouse twins.
the Sweet Life Zach and Cody kid.
Yeah, I don't know which one.
The
But one of
movie
the
was literally
Sprouse
called 5 feet apart.
twins. Yeah.
true
So-
love story.
Yeah. And so, Connor, you're in the Eastern time zone now. What have you been up to since we last gathered together?
Dude, so much. So I left the Owls right before Christmas. Decided to make a move. My wife and I were just kind of tired of being away from our parents, and so her parents are only a 6-hour drive from where we're at now, and then we moved to Louisville because my parents have lived here for like 7 years now. We've always really liked the area, so we just moved here without jobs or anything, and yeah, my wife found a job pretty quickly, and then I found this one job that was pretty temporary, and then like a month later I started the job I'm doing now, which is working for a digital marketing agency called Leap Agency, and I'm a digital marketing analyst for them. And yeah, it's pretty awesome actually. I work with a group of great people, and I miss working in sports every day, but I'm really happy with what I'm doing. So I'm not upset with what I'm doing, but I do miss. I wish I could like marry the two, and it would be like the perfect job.
Yeah.
Ugh.
No, and then, like I think that's what a lot of people know. Even now, you can look back, no sports really going on for the past long while, and here you are actually having had something to be doing
Yeah.
despite that.
Yeah, I know. That's yeah. My wife and I talk about it all the time. We actually got really, really blessed with this year because a lot of people, this has been a super hard year for them, and we, never want to diminish that with like how pleased I am with the way this year's gone. But yeah, we've actually had a really good year with finding really good jobs, and I see this one hopefully going into like a long-term career for a little while here. So I'm pretty excited.
Yeah.
The
that's
real
good.
question is, how is the post game spread at Leap?
Less Firehouse, that's for sure.
So better.
Does crumble?
Way better.
Do crumble? They have crumble.
There's no crumble. Unfortunately, my wife misses crumble every day, but yeah, we definitely don't have as much Firehouse. So yeah, a little better.
Less sandwiches.
Yeah, less sandwiches exactly.
All right. Well, how about you, Nathan? What have you been up to?
So I graduated in December, and then I took a job out in Augusta, Georgia, to work with the low A affiliate of the Giants, the Augusta Green Jackets, who are located in North Augusta. Definitely one of the top ballparks I've ever been to. It's just right along the river. It's a brand new ballpark. I was working in sales out there, and then we kind of had this whole pandemic come up, and they got hit pretty hard and kind of had to lower the staff. So I brought my talents back to Utah to work in Fidelity and do
Ooh.
some customer service. So if you guys ever want to talk about 401ks or want to talk about your stocks, just give me a call. We'll chat.
No.
And
Well, actually,
Let's just
not
turn
up on
this-
that.
Let's just no more baseball. Let's just do 401ks, Roth
Yes.
IRAs.
talk
What do we
about
got
your
here?
future. Yeah.
What can we talk about?
What is the Dow? I don't understand.
Well,
Who is Dow?
that's another podcast. But yeah, no, I'm excited to be back in Utah, and then hopefully just get involved with sports in some other way, whether that's just volunteering, helping, or being a season ticket holder or some other way. So
Yeah.
excited to be back here.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I'm glad you guys are all doing good. You're healthy, alive, doing things. I know for me, I just graduated from BYU Idaho back in April. I was all ready to go and work for the Owlz this summer, be the clubhouse manager, and finally achieve the dream of a broadcaster.
Washing people's clothes. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Doing laundry. But unfortunately, just like Nathan, that kind of fell through since the season hasn't happened and most likely will not happen. And so just kind of being a bum, trying to figure out what I'm going to do.
You're a full-time babysitter.
Partly. And look for something to do. And so that kind of inspired me, hey, I can try and at least build up on this content creation of baseball. Anybody that has been following the Sideline Crowd, I've been doing these MLB The Show broadcasts on YouTube. I think my max was like one of the first ones I did, had like 40 views as of now, but then it's just petered
Wow.
off where I get like 3, and 2 of them have been me clicking on it. But it's been good practice for me, at least. I've made friends with the Purple Row, at least the guy that's been doing it for the Rockies kind of fan blog and whatnot. Kept in touch with the Grand Junction Rockies broadcaster Kyle, who he's no longer with the team anymore.
Really?
Yeah, Kyle. Yeah, he's not with the Rockies anymore as of last Friday. He had to leave. He left the team again. Same reasons as everything of the season and all that stuff. So it's been hitting everybody hard. But something I want to kind of move on to, and I'm going to get on a lighter note, happier notes. Of first thing I wanted to ask is kind of what were your favorite Owlz memories? You know, we had a lot of fun times there with the Orem Owls, and I kind of want to think of any like your favorite moments, maybe that are appropriate at least, of moments or stories they had of the time from last year. One of your favorite moments.
Define appropriate.
Yeah, appropriate. Anything that didn't involve food, it would have to be probably playing staff games and just dominating at shortstop, batting fourth and hitting bombs, carrying the team on my back, and just being a true leadership presence to our team. A bench guy.
Where did you hit the bomb to?
Shallow center.
Okay.
Just above the shortstop's head.
But man, it landed hard.
But man, did I run out those 90. Man, hard 90s all day. No, but the staff games were pretty cool. Being able to, the podcast, I think, was the biggest thing for me. Just being able to talk to players. We got to talk to really cool ones. Learn some cool stories from guys like Deshaun Knowles. Learning about how he got his speed. That's a fun story. Best places to go in the Bahamas if you're going to go there. Under the dock, drinking some beers and
Literally
having some conch
dock.
salad.
That's it.
Go under the dock.
Any dock.
Zach Christofak, he's another really cool guy, teaching us the correct way to play golf. Smashing your clubs into the closest green and sprinting under the sand traps. So a lot of cool things. We got to talk to a lot of cool people, met some cool people. Michael Briskowski, the play-by-play for the Owls, was awesome. Being able to interview him and Corey Snyder as well. Just getting to know the players was awesome.
Yeah. Definitely some of my favorite moments.
Yeah, I definitely definitely loved the podcast. Obviously, I think that was one of my highlights of the season, and staff games, of course. I think outside of that, just whenever we had a good game was just the best feeling, whether we won or lost.
Idaho Falls.
Yeah, exactly. Like swept Idaho Falls. Like just whenever we had like a good series or a good game, it was just the best feeling. Or like Jeremiah hitting like a 3-run bomb, like, and just like flexing up in the window. We know he can't see us, but we're still flexing up in the window just because we can, and it's so hype. So yeah, that was really fun.
Yeah,
I would have to say podcast. Podcast is definitely up there. I think just watching the players develop and grow, and then just kind of having that new influx of players come in from Arizona there at the end was a lot of fun. Just because there's new guys, kind of new energy to the team, and I mean, we got that last day win, and we got the first day win, so that was big for us.
Yeah, it was nice to see Will Holmes come in and throw some nasty breaking balls,
and then do well at the plate.
Yeah, see some elite baseball in Orem.
See good players.
Hey, we had Andrelton Simmons at one time.
That is true. He gave me a fist pump. That was probably the coolest thing, actually.
Didn't he make the all-time Owls roster?
Yeah.
Played 2 games. I mean, they're not wrong. He batted 500.
Yeah, so Pioneer League did the all-time players list, and of course, the Owls, not having too great of shortstops coming through their systems, they picked Andrelton Simmons, who played a total of 3 games. 3 or 4, something like that.
I think it was 2, right?
I think it was
he
3.
If we added up all the innings, it would be 1 game. But yeah,
true. True.
So Andrelton Simmons, all-time Owls shortstop.
Wait, are you telling me that Will Wilson wasn't an elite shortstop?
No. Not like Andrelton Simmons. What Andrelton Simmons did for the Owls in those 3 days forever changed.
Lost like at least 1 or 2 of those games too.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
I'm trying to think. One of my favorite. Oh, there's a ton of moments. I miss having a 17-year-old boss.
I wasn't gonna bring it up. You said it.
No, I think the fun. My personal favorite was getting to do games with Michael in the booth, doing a couple of those games where I just got to do a couple innings with him, and then when I got to do a full game with him, and kind of learning the ropes a little bit, getting my feet wet in it. I think that was probably my biggest moments. But then I think everything else, just being at the ballpark, messing around, dinking around on the field, playing in the cage, playing staff games, eating food. Yeah, taking trips with Quinn and Michael or whoever, and going up onto UVU campus over to the convenience store. I think just all those little moments and just being around the sport.
Store.
Yeah. The convenience store that was like conveniently twice as expensive as anywhere else.
Yeah.
Fucking look at girls on the way.
No, that's not what we did. We told our purpose was specifically to go get rock stars. Come on.
I mean, you did do that. But if a girl happened to cross my eyes along the way, it wasn't my fault.
Hey, they were there. That was just blessings. And sometimes a curse, if you know.
If you know, you know. I think I was there that one time.
Oh gosh. But yeah, the way I'd like sum up our experience with the Owls was it was like a summer camp, basically.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like just like a camp where we just basically Skylar and I just got dropped off, and it was like Connor and Michael's job to just take care of us.
Just say, was I
that we were like
is that what you're saying?
We were just like little kids, yeah. Hey, just put them in the cage for an hour, let them run, get their exercise, feed them. They'll probably take a nap.
Which I did a few times.
So now that you mentioned it, yeah, all that happened.
It was a summer camp. I'm telling you, the interns at the Orem Owls, we were just like summer camp.
Yeah. It's a perfect way to put it, that internship. But I think that was a great group. At least I think this group before, because Connor was a full-time employee, and I think that's a perfect way to put it. Just like this summer camp, just fun, showing up, watching baseball. May not have been the best baseball every night, but it was baseball nonetheless. We got to watch for free and be involved with it. I think that was a kind of a perfect dream for all of us in a way, and hopefully it can continue in the future in one way or another. So I always share this with some people. Remember when Torrey Hunter Jr. came and we interviewed him, and just the asking the questions during the interview part.
The fact that his favorite food is a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Are we still not?
Yeah.
Or that Will Wilson's favorite movie is Journey to the Center of the Earth.
Glad he got traded. That's the reason he got traded to the Giants.
If there's anything we can tell you from talking to all those players, is they are weird. Baseball players are weird.
Are we not going to address the fact that we asked what Torrey Hunter's favorite thing to do outside baseball is, and he said Legos?
Oh, that's true.
Oh, yeah.
Legos with my son.
Legos and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Man.
I mean, I want to hang out with Torrey Hunter Jr. That's all I'm saying.
I
He
mean,
provides the
PBJs.
Legos.
I can eat
That's
PBJs and
expensive.
play with Legos all day.
it's true. You're perfect for minor league baseball then.
Yeah.
That's what I told them, and no one drafted me.
I will strictly eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches every day to save you money. Draft me.
Yeah.
All I'm asking, short and fourth.
All I'm asking is for a cool $2.5 million rookie signing. That's all I'm asking.
Just my slot value, please.
None of this $10,000 signing bonus crap.
Oh, that's the worst. That is the worst.
Dude, that's all the pitchers, after the 15th round or whatever.
Oh, man.
I got to, when I was the clubby, I got to see a bunch of their signing bonuses because the trainer and the strength coach had access to all of that. Dude, some of those guys got robbed blind. Some of those guys who were probably the best relievers and actually got moved up and all this other stuff, they got $10,000, $20,000. One actually had a $40,000 signing bonus, and I was surprised, but also not. I mean, he was a good reliever, but he definitely wasn't the best on the team, and he was not even fresh out of college. He did 3 years at Oklahoma, and then he got a $40,000 signing bonus, where some of these other guys who had played a little bit longer, a little bit more experience, and were a little bit better, in my opinion, $10,000.
Yeah.
That was it. And then you're making
The
less than
haters were the motivators, man.
Yeah, I guess so.
It just shows, because I think we're going to talk about this eventually, Skylar, just minor league baseball, a little bit about what is going on with minor league baseball right now. So just a couple weeks ago, they did the minor league draft, and because of COVID-19, shortened seasons, less chance for scouting, they only did 5 rounds. and made it so that if you didn't get picked in those 5 rounds, you could get another year of eligibility without it hurting you, or you could go as an undrafted free agent basically. And I think they capped it at like, was it 20,000 or something, 30,000,
Something
to where
yeah.
if you were an undrafted, which means anyone from 6th round or higher, which if you look at some of their slot value for their money, it's in the 100,000 for some of those guys, and hundreds of thousands even if you're a 6th round pick. And so these guys could have been a 6th round pick. They chose to go the MLB route, and they're only getting like 30,000 for their signing bonus. It's just kind of like a terrible time to be a baseball prospect. And do I go back to school for another year and kind of risk maybe not even getting drafted at all or even signed? Or do I take 30,000 now and sit on a bus for who knows, those 12-hour days?
Well, and they're not even going to have buses for the next year. I mean,
Yeah.
they're just going to be sitting around.
Just sitting around training, and you're not getting paid for that, depending on which organization you're a part of. And there's like the whole issue league with like teams paying minor leaguers or teams not paying minor leaguers. So minor league baseball right now, it's got so many questions that I think it's going to take longer to answer a lot of those.
Yeah, and that perfect segue into what I wanted to talk about of, kind of that unfortunate thing of the status of minor league baseball this season, because they were prepped for a fight with, this whole year of after that plan came out that MLB wants to reduce it by like 40 some odd teams and really kind of give Major League Baseball stronger control over minor league baseball and how it's run and how things work, that people were ready to fight for it. The entirety of the Pioneer League is in jeopardy now. They're on the chopping block. And it's kind of really unfortunate because you hate to see these baseball teams, these small businesses, more or less get cut, which I feel is like super sad, kind of unfair. And then everything hits the fan when you get a global pandemic that just shuts everything down.
Yeah, you think of like the 40 teams, who they are. That would be basically like 2 leagues getting gone. So you get rid of your rookie league and your low A, or I guess A team in some situations could have been. And that's a lot of chance for players to really develop and grow. And you think about some of the players, even if you look at a list of MLB players who got undrafted, which they would have gone the same route, gone to the spring training, like low rookie, high rookie, then low A, had to go through every step. A lot of those guys did hit those. Like, for instance, Mike Clevenger, so Cleveland Indians pitcher, he went through Orem. He had to stay there for 2 years. Who knows what happened that first year that made him come back the second year? But if we didn't have a team, there might not have been a roster spot for him to, as he said recently, he had no command. His velocity was really low, and it took him a while to get to where he is now. So when you're taking away levels of baseball, you're taking away levels of training or levels of time for them to really grow into themselves as players and their bodies, really. Because a lot of these guys are like 20, 21-year-olds still finally getting to work out as a professional athlete for the first time, where they'll keep growing and getting bigger.
Yes.
Yeah, and a little bit of like insider information, I guess you could say, is I know when Rick, the GM for the Owls, talked to someone with the Angels. I can't remember exactly who it is, but someone with like the minor league like system down in Arizona, and he was talking about all this. And he's like, I mean, what's going on here? Like, what is what is the deal with getting rid of these leagues? Where, I mean, it gives, like you said, it gives a lot of guys a lot of chance to prove themselves. And especially a lot of like the Dominican kids, the kids from the Bahamas, like a lot of the international kids from Venezuela. That's another huge one. I mean, so many of those guys come through the minor leagues and actually show off their skills and get to move up when they weren't like a high slotted draft pick or signing pick or whatever. And the guy, I guess, responded and was just like, "Oh, we know who our top talent is," like ahead of time. And it just, to me, I'm like, thinking about all the moments in sports where people who weren't a high slotted draft pick came in and did incredible things. And like, for example, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan, but Tom Brady picked overall 199. And I mean, even getting rid of cheating and whatever, I mean, he's an incredible quarterback.
Yeah. And it
One of the
happens all
best.
the time in every sport you look at. Basketball has some, MLB definitely has some, and football has, just more because of how much turnover there is in football. But
Exactly.
then you're losing all these opportunities. If you think of like a couple guys, I just pulled up a list for instance. One of them, Kevin Millar, ever heard of him? He's kind of gotten big time. He's had his opportunity, undrafted player, mostly known for his ability to talk now more than his baseball skills. But still, he came into the Red Sox, batted fourth, and was able to get on base during that opportunity during the 2004 World Series run for them and played a huge part for them. And so you get a bunch of these guys. Bobby Bonilla, another one.
He worked out really well.
Larry Walker. And you got like Hall of Fame guys in here too.
There's countless examples, and really when you think about like just all sports all around, baseball has figured out the whole minor league system the best in a way where it's like, hey, you have this whole system for guys to like prove themselves and work out and figure it out and grow into your major team, where like other minor league systems don't work that way. The NBA kind of has that with the G League, but a lot of other leagues don't have that where you really feed into a team. It's just kind of like they're on a team, and then if another team wants to sign them, they can like go sign with them.
Yeah. If you think about basketball, if you don't make it, like if you just don't pan out, you have to go overseas. Football, They have nothing. And like I said, a lot of these guys just take time to grow into themselves. And some of them are 18, 19-year-olds coming out of high school, college kids who are 20, 21, who this will be their first time actually being able to devote all their time to baseball for the first time in their life.
Yeah. I think, Nathan, it sounded like you had something to say.
Well, yeah, obviously for me, it's sad to see all these players that aren't going to be able to develop and grow, especially because, for the 18, 19-year-olds, right, once they play pro, they can't really go back and play college ball. And so for them, I think that they're going to have to make that decision, whether to go to college and then just develop and then maybe see a shift to doing that more in players instead of coming out of high school. And could be good, could be bad, but a lot of them just need to develop. They need the time. And then I was going to say, even just from like, it's sad to see the small businesses. I don't know if you followed a lot of the minor league like teams, but nowadays they're not hosting baseball games, but a lot of them are doing like come and have happy hour, or come and have dinner at the ballpark, or come do anything because they're part of the community, and a lot of people are responding to that. And I think that like, as the teams go away, that kind of goes away as well. You lose that small business, you use that kind of sense of community. And especially for, the area like Montana and like that. You might be able to get a college league up there, but I don't know. It's really sad.
Yeah. And that brings in the thing of a lot of these, these minor league teams. I know the Idaho Falls Chuckers, they're scheduled to let an American Legion, team just play at their stadium. A lot of them are doing that, of letting these collegiate teams or other things come and play in their stadiums, even though it would directly conflict with home games that could still happen. But I think a lot of them have just realized, this season's a lost cause. We got to do something to at least help ourselves in a way to help our communities. Because I think that's the biggest thing, like we're talking about, of it's taking away the accessibility of baseball from a lot of areas. Where people in Idaho Falls, where's their closest major league baseball team, or people in Montana? It's kind of like the Mariners or the Rockies. It's kind of like your closest team that you're in the market for. And so you're never going to drive to those games. You're going to be blacked out if you bought the MLB TV package. And so the accessibility, take away all these teams, that takes away a lot of baseball from a lot of people. And I think there's nothing better than that's what I loved about going to the Orem games, or being there, is there weren't as many fans there because Orem really isn't much of a baseball town. But it's still like a fun family thing. Hey, on a Friday night, we had a fireworks game, place would be packed, because it's something fun and cheap to go do on a Friday night as a family in a nice little environment.
And that's the thing with ML or minor league baseball, is those 40 teams, most of them are in really small communities. whether it be like small town Montana, Idaho, or out east in like the Tennessees, Kentucky kind of area. And when you think about minor league baseball, especially at those lower level, people don't go there as much for the baseball as they go there for the atmosphere, the events, for the children, really. So there's not as much about the baseball. It's more of they're losing a part of this is where they would take their kids, like you said, on that Friday night and just someplace to have fun. And the communities themselves are losing a lot just based off of that. It's something in the summer that a lot of people do plan on. And as we saw, even with Orem, there's a lot who did get like season tickets.
Yeah.
But you're losing that in every of those 40 cities.
Yeah. So it's kind of heartbreaking to see that happening. And then you think also about the opportunities for people who want to work in baseball or sports in general, because it's about having experience. Who do you know? And take away plenty of those opportunities of places you could start to build up some experience. Poof, they're gone. And it becomes even more competitive. And it's rough. Because that even happens to our good friend Michael Briskowski, who's now, I think, the sports information director at a community college in Wyoming after leaving, was it the Clinton Lumber Kings?
Yeah.
Whatever the name of that team was.
Yeah, for the
Changed
Pioneer
his career
League in
path.
general, I think half of the guys who are doing play-by-play for them are now gone and doing something else.
Yeah.
Idaho Falls, like Grand Junction, Montana, was it Billings? And on doing something else. So he's seeing a lot affecting some of these guys who, like you said, have those dreams. And it's kind of, it is a terrible situation because MLB calls for budget cuts and they're saying this is what they need to be doing to make baseball better. But who really knows?
And I think the segue here that feeds into, like, I think the thing that's been most frustrating for everybody was, March, the season gets canceled or gets suspended indefinitely, both minor league and major league baseball because of the COVID-19. And then we've just had months of these negotiations between the MLB and the players union. But minor league baseball has just been ignored, hasn't really been addressed at all during that entire process. And then when the decision was announced that, hey, we're having 2020 season, still everybody in minor league baseball is like, what about us?
Hey,
what happens to us?
Go over here.
Yeah, where are we? Yeah.
So yeah, they're like 2/3. They're over halfway done with minor league season, and they still haven't said anything about it, which they should just come out and say that it's canceled because there's no way at this point that minor league's coming back, just on a health note. And it's hard. I mean, I do like what Major League has done, and they're making it so there's, instead of like a 40-man list, they turned it up to 60, and they're giving more players the opportunity to go to the big league camp after a shortened spring training. And then they do have instead of the 25-man roster, or 26-man is what it was going to be, it's a 30-man with like 3 rotating taxi players. And so that's something cool that they've done, which is out of necessity, just in case players get injured, which will happen. And they're giving opportunities to a lot of these guys who were just picked even this year to come up and play.
Yeah. That's kind of what I wanted to talk about. First, what were kind of your reactions? What were you observing? How were you feeling during the whole negotiation process between MLB and the players? Nathan, how are you kind of paying attention to that? How were you feeling? What were your thoughts on that whole process?
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously just really sad to see. You understand kind of where the players are coming from, right? They've been guaranteed this money, and they felt like the contract or the agreement signed in March was binding. And then you kind of see where the owners are coming from. But it is sad that, they couldn't come to a decision until end of June. And, we're only going to get a 60-game season, which really is kind of sad considering that baseball is the summer sport, right? It's the chance to kind of, be that sport to lead us as we go into it. And now I think that a lot of the viewership will be lost to the NBA, the NHL, all that's coming back. And, people want baseball. People wanted to see something. I know some people have jumped onto the bandwagon of the KBO or the other different leagues that are going on. I personally, I jumped onto soccer bandwagon, so I've been watching European leagues a ton because it's on. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of sad to see. You hope that this doesn't, cause bad faith in the discussions that they're going to do this next year as they go into the agreements, and hopefully they can be able to figure everything out before that causes another problem or another delay in the season.
Yeah. Quinn, you're a huge fan of Rob Manfred.
Big Rob Manfred guy. Bob's my guy. I'll stick next to him through and through. Just a great commissioner.
Dripping with sarcasm.
If you think of like everything he's done, it's to the point where people are calling for Bud Selig to come back. The guy who just teeter-tottered with steroid era, brought that back, took it away, banned people, basically just manipulated baseball to what it's been now. Bud Selig's kind of controversial depending on how you look at him. Rob Manfred's getting to the point where people are thinking Roger Goodell's pretty great at his job.
Yeah.
And
Yikes.
It's a scary situation out there. I mean, he met with the union leader. I think it's Tony Clark is his name.
Mm-hmm.
And he said they came to he came out and said, there will be baseball. We have come to a conclusion. And then we find out later, he says, no, I don't know, actually. I don't know. And so what he has done, I think a lot of it is just misinformation and how he handled the whole thing going forward, not telling us what do the owners really think. Like, the owners definitely will lose money. I've heard reports that it's upwards of like $600,000 a game because they're not being able to sell any kind of concessions or anything. And working in baseball, you understand how important that is. And so I think misinformation, what he's done in the past with their marketing efforts, blackouts, everything like that, weren't too big of an issue. I just kind of didn't like him for that. But then add this on top is where I started to really show distrust for this guy, for what he's really done. He's kind of come out as like a snake, basically, working for the owners, which is his job, but it's come forward a little bit more to see that maybe he doesn't have the best interest for the game and the future of the game.
I think one of my favorite things that I think I saw on like Twitter once, and it was like a reporter, or it might have been even Trevor Bauer, or somebody saying like,
well, Trevor Bauer is a reporter.
Yeah. It's like, I'm starting to get the feeling like Rob Manfred doesn't even like baseball. Does he even like baseball?
I think he was like a lawyer who came up through their law department or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then just got up to be like assistant commissioner, worked with Bud Selig as like a second, and then got voted in by the owners, which is what they do. So it's a lot of things that he has done to baseball that I'm glad that we came to a conclusion. I'm mad it took us this long. Players are frustrated. The when and where happened, and then he kind of twisted it for his own thing. If nothing, hopefully this does give a little bit more marketing towards baseball. People are mad. Opening day, Max Scherzer, Garrett Cole, probable. Hey, I'm so hyped for that, and I think all of America is too. So I'm just saying, if nothing, at least we got some more interest in baseball. And there's nothing like staying up till 3 o'clock in the morning watching the KBO. So the Lotte Giants, we may not be in the playoff race right now, but we're gonna get there. Don't worry.
Yeah, Quinn said it with the when and where situation, because to me it seemed like there was just a huge lack of communication from Rob, because I mean, he was trying to do the whole like playing it off on like, oh, the players haven't talked to us or we like whatever. And then he forgot that we live in the age of social media where every player was like, tell me when, tell me where, I will be there. Like there's no hiding. You can't hide.
I'm convinced he doesn't even know what Twitter is.
Probably doesn't.
Robert doesn't know what Twitter is. He's never been on Twitter.com.
What is this Twitter?
Trevor Bauer's on what now? Is that like a blog? What is that?
Is that on the CD list? Is that illegal?
Twitter. Never heard of that. Let's black it out. Make it so they can't put any content on it.
But I think I'm in that same boat where it's just frustrating to see them bickering. I think from a fan viewpoint, because to the fans and everybody, it just looked like there's bickering over money. And that's like the most frustrating thing, where especially in the context of what's happening with economy, people's jobs and everything. And there's these guys who play money to play baseball kind of arguing about this money. And like Nathan said, you can understand the arguments from both sides, and it's worked out one way or another. I think hopefully baseball can recover from this. They're going to have a hard time, especially with that when the collective bargaining agreements come up, negotiations come up, whenever that is. Ugh.
2021.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. So this is kind of like the pre-match, and the real slugfest is going to come then. So
Yeah, a lot of
frustrating.
people are saying it could be a 1994 situation again, but we'll lock out from the beginning of the season and end up we may not have baseball again for that year, which would be terrible.
It would devastate them.
But in the meantime, the KBO, Japanese baseball, and Chinese baseball is thriving. I'm just telling you, staying up till 3 a.m. is a thrill. Connor, it'd be like 5 for you, but
You did that anyway.
I know, so I'm just telling you, it's a win-win. For
Watching Whose Line Is It Anyway?
I switched out Whose Line Is It Anyway and turned on Korean baseball.
Quinn got really confused. Where's the improv and jokes?
I know Ryan Stiles isn't here. Where is he?
Why does Colin
George
Hockley look
Carey.
different? He's got way more hair.
The thing about it, though, have you guys seen any of the broadcasts for ESPN doing it?
I think I saw like one of the first ones they did.
Yeah, one of the first or two.
Yeah, so those commentators, it's always like the guys, so like Bouchambi, you have Eduardo Perez and a lot of those guys, Carl Ravitch, who are doing it. Same guys as their Sunday night, minus Alex Rodriguez, basically. And they just look miserable. They look like they hate their lives. And they have no idea what to do. So, I mean, sometimes it's better just to mute them because they're talking about like food or like how tired they are or whatever it may be. Because they're getting up at like 3 a.m. to get prepared for a show that starts at 5 Eastern. And so they just look miserable, and I feel so bad for those guys. But the baseball in the Korean Baseball League, very good.
Yeah.
And apparently, I mean, you got some major league players going over there. Addison Russell just signed to go play over there. I think he's with Samsung.
Good riddance to him.
Yeah. But
I love the Korean Baseball League's been doing though, of like improvising, like putting random things in the stands. So they had like all those stuffed animals.
Oh, yeah.
Pikachu just sitting there.
Kobe cutout. That was cool.
Yeah.
That was very cool.
There's the one like putting mannequins out in the stands.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And I was just informed and saw today that the New Zealand Baseball League is on ESPN Plus.
Ayo.
Yeah, so add that to another strange league that we can watch.
Yeah.
So you're telling me I still won't be buying ESPN Plus? Okay, good to know.
Oh, yeah, well, you don't enjoy the finer things in life, then I see. Like New Zealand baseball,
Things in life.
New Zealand baseball and cricket,
soccer,
Korean soccer.
So, kind of moving on a little bit more, so the season has been announced. Spring training supposed to start July 3rd, spring training 2.0, summer camp.
I think it's summer starting at like either Friday or
this week they'll start having have workouts and stuff. With the season set to start either July 23rd or 24th. So the end of July should have games getting ready to go. And with that, there was a lot of rule changes, a few rule changes that come with this 2020 season, the shortened one. So they're going for 60 games. And so the biggest one, I think, some of these we already knew about. We're used to runner on second base and extra innings. Not that big of a deal. They do it in the minors. I'm fine with it most of the time. I think it doesn't do much.
It's confusing the first couple times you see it, but then you kind of get used to it.
Yeah, it's confusing from a scoring point.
Oh, it's the worst.
Which they do explain it in this, so it
Fielding
doesn't
error. That's how they reached.
Counts as an unearned run. So then the 3-batter rule for pitchers, that's still going to be in effect for this season. That was going to be implemented. And then anybody can pitch. There's pitchers, the position players no longer have to wait until extra innings or being up or down by 6 runs. So position players can pitch whenever now for this season. And then the biggest one, the universal DH. The National League will have the DH in their own ballparks for the first time in baseball history. How you feeling about that DH?
Not as excited, knowing that Ryan Zimmerman's opting out for the year. So we're going to have to figure out another DH. But knowing that we have Eric Thames made me feel a lot better.
Kyle Schwarber's finally going to have a job.
Yikes. Hey, honestly, I'm kind of here for it. I'll be honest, just because like I've always hated there's been like slight differences between the two leagues, just because like what other sport has that? Which I mean also made baseball unique, but at the same time, I just felt like it should be consistent across the board. Where like basketball has Eastern and Western conferences, but you don't have different rules. It's all the same, and I just always felt baseball should have kind of adopted that in the first place. When you have if the leagues didn't play each other, it would make sense, but they do, so it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. And I'm kind of in that same. I was always like, yeah, like the National League is best. Pitchers should hit. And over time, I'm like, I could go. I can give or take. Like it doesn't really matter anymore.
An extra bat at Coors Field? Come on.
Yeah. And because
As
I was
cool as
always
stacked
wanted to be
bunts
that base.
Home runs are cooler.
Yeah, and I think the thing that's always been my thing is I've gotten more into the study of the game. I think having the DH for the National League team opens up so many more opportunities for them on the free agent market. So, like the Rockies, this past offseason could have gone to get Edwin Encarnacion and not have to put him at first base where he would be a defensive liability. Boom, slot him in as a DH, hits 70 bombs at Coors Field.
Guaranteed.
Or like, so I think all of your teams, got the Nationals, Cardinals, and the Dodgers, and then me for the Rockies. All of us can think of maybe one guy on our team that we have to put in the field that's a defensive liability. Now you can put him into a DH spot, have an up-and-coming prospect that has a lot of promise. There's an open door for him now. That's kind of where I
Dodgers,
sit at it now.
Like, the other thing is, sometimes it's defensive liability, but also, like, sometimes you just have too many guys. Like, you just you can't put them all out. I think that's for every team.
Sometimes your team's just too good.
Sometimes
I don't know
have
what
too
to
many
do.
good players.
Peterson, Betts, Bellinger.
Have you guys never had
Taylor.
the issue of too many good players?
Yeah.
Not enough World Series wins.
I wish we had worse players so that we could win a ring.
I wish we could just play them all like T-ball. It's just so hard when you have so many good guys and all they want to do is play.
Hey, come on now.
No, but
2017 had been a little bit different.
Man, it's so hard to be a Dodgers fan with us.
There's the trash can. But I agree with you, Nathan. Like sometimes it just seems like that where it's just there's no place for anybody. It just congestion opens up a door. Now somebody else, you can just throw an extra guy in there and kind of put out the best possible team offensively. Because as much as I love the idea of guys needing to be able to play both offense and defense, the DH and like offense is the way to go these days for baseball. That's the way it's turned. And so guys like Edwin Encarnacion, Nelson Cruz, just getting paid to hit homers. Whatever, I'll take it now.
Yeah, quarantine. It took quarantine and a global pandemic to get us to universal DH, but I'm fine with it.
Yeah,
worth. I'm gonna say worth.
Worth
it. And now,
thank you, China.
Oh no! Oh, that's awful.
Nathan's just been hoping for something to happen. I just want universal DH.
Yeah,
he's praying for it every night.
Oh no!
You did this to us.
Please open up a spot for Justin Yurchek.
Oh yeah. Oh. I'm saying, put him on the 60-man list. Let's go. Get him up there.
But I think the universal DH, I think will be fine. It'll be interesting to see now where Yasiel Puig goes.
Yeah.
Because his services are probably going to be in demand for a National League team at this point. Maybe we'll see if people can put up with him.
Don't come to the Cardinals. I don't want to see you.
It's gonna happen now. You just made it happen. I'm sorry.
I'm just getting an alert on my phone right now that says Yasiel Puig to the Cardinals.
And they're getting rid of Paul Goldschmidt for the trade. Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's a good
Paul
choice.
Goldschmidt to Cuba to play for the national team.
Oh my! The whitest man on that team. That guy.
So a couple of the other rule changes. things. There's the procedures for health and safety.
Which
No
are funny
spitting.
in their own.
Yeah, no spitting anymore. You can
No
chew gum.
high-fiving.
Don't come within 6 feet of, if possible, stay away from the runners and like other people on the field as much as possible. No fraternizing with the other team while on the field. Keep your space in the dugout.
Can't tag on.
No
You just
tagging. No
the ground
touching the
ball and
base
take
when
your
someone
ball.
else is about to touch the base.
You just have to peg him with the ball, like kickball or something.
Each
Yeah,
team will be given one megaphone to argue with the umpire with from
Yeah.
the dugout.
Yeah. That's why Lou Pinella's not out there.
I love this one, this random one of there won't be a pregame exchange of the lineup cards. Instead, they'll input their lineup onto a mobile application provided by MLB. And so that just, I don't know why, but that's just the most random thing to throw
They
in.
text it in.
Yeah, they're going to text
Just
it
want
in.
everyone to make sure we're not handing cards to the umpires. Don't worry.
We're not. I don't have service. I can't send in my lineup card.
Is that what he's gonna have like an iPhone in his back pocket and like pull it out to do changes?
Yeah.
No, I swear, I'm just doing my lineup.
He's
I'm not
sending in
stealing
Paul
signs.
Goldschmidt, LOL.
Looks like we're gonna put in Andrew Miller, SMH.
So that's some
Hunter
of the
Strickland's coming in. Let's just okay. FML. Just texting to the umpire. He texts back,
Yeah.
I know.
angry text to the
Just sends
umpire.
emojis back. Doesn't say
Sends a
anything.
GIF.
Gifts, yeah.
Who's the first coach or manager that's getting caught just playing Candy Crush or something on there on
Joe
that
Madden,
phone?
100%. Joe Madden.
Frank
Joe
Connor,
Madden-
for sure.
No
It's
way
not
he figures it out. He's gonna have to have someone like a technical assistant to help him upload that.
the tech manager.
Just the IT guy sitting on the bench and just polo and khakis.
No, that's the guy that bangs the trash can.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise, video coordinators.
I was about to say, we just see Phil. He's just like, you just click that button right there.
Did you try unplugging and plugging it in? Where's the Wi-Fi?
Let's see. Some of the other things, scheduling. So clubs can schedule up to 3 exhibition games before the end of summer camps. So you could like play the team you're going to have opening day against, play a couple games leading up to that.
I think a lot of them will do interleague or inter squad games probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you'll play 40 games against your division and then 20 interleague games against the corresponding geographical division. So the Rockies will be taking on the AL West along with the Dodgers. Let's see, and then Central, and then we got the East. So hey, we covered all 3.
I'm gonna say the
Hey.
East has the hardest schedule.
Yeah, tell me.
Pretty
Yeah.
rough.
The AL East, man.
Yankees.
If I didn't already win a World Series in 2019, I would have been worried. But you know, having a World Series is pretty great. So the Nationals, we don't have to worry. We're playing the Mets, who got a lot better. The Phillies got better. The Braves are still good. Then we put on the Yankees, the Red Sox, Rays. Yeah, I think we'll be
Who
fine.
knows if the Jays are gonna be able to play this year? We'll still see, but
I think
they
they-
gotta open up the border between Canada.
Well,
Oh,
they
true.
can come into the U.S. It's
Just
going
can't get
back
back
that's
out.
the hard part.
Yeah.
So I think one of those things is like their AAA is in Buffalo, New York, and so they might just go play at their
Yeah.
Buffalo location.
Buffalo.
That'd be good for the Buffalo location. Dang.
Ugh, can you imagine having to play at a AAA stadium? Oh,
Ugh.
Ew, gross.
oh.
But
How many-
that one's gonna be interesting because I saw one thing of like, no, the East they only have to really travel across one time zone. The West they have to travel against 3 different time zones for their
Yeah.
games and whatnot. So that's gonna be kind of interesting. But it'll be interesting to see. I don't look forward to seeing, just playing 10 games against the Dodgers. Ugh.
Losing 10 games against the
10
Dodgers.
games
Yeah.
against the Padres.
So it's going to be rough. Which, looking at some of these rosters, the 60-man rosters, Quinn kind of let off with that a while ago. Let's talk about that. What are your thoughts on the 60-man rosters?
I like it. It gives guys who got drafted last year, who were high round picks, the opportunity to come up and kind of show a little bit about themselves. It's basically spring training again, where they have tons of minor league players on there just to kind of like, like what was said, Connor said, they know who they're going to keep. The Nationals, we know who are 24, like about 24 of the guys. We don't know about Carter Kieboom or maybe one other relief pitcher. But we do know what this does is gives them the opportunity to look at some of these minor league players who maybe are coming up and down all the time or who maybe new, haven't gotten the chance to be seen, and they get to show themselves a little bit more. So it's just an extended look at their minor league players, which I'm for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it too. I know Jordan Adams. He was the first pick for the Angels 2 years ago, and he put on his Instagram story that like him and Joe Adell are invited to the summer camp.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool. Like, you've got guys who are like on the brink, like Joe Adell, who are like he's gonna be an Angel like any day now. We just don't know exactly when like the official.
When his service time allows them to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, but then you got a guy like Jordan Adams, who's definitely like an up and comer. That, yeah, I think he could definitely show off some good things at summer camp, and it gives him that opportunity, like Quinn said.
I just keep hearing the word summer camp, and I keep thinking back to what Quinn was talking about.
It reminds me of like what the NBA is doing, where they just have like every team at just a hotel in Florida.
Disney.
They like set it up so perfectly to make it sound like a kid's adventure. Like we have ping pong, we'll have a movie room, there's a pool, and you guys can hang out and play NBA 2K all you want.
And in the complex next to them is MLS, so they're
True.
going to be able to fraternize with soccer players.
But not too close.
But not
Yeah.
too close.
How about you, Nathan? What are your thoughts on the 60-man rosters?
I'm excited for it. I think it'll be good to see some of these younger guys get a chance to play. I think, too, they'll get a chance to kind of see what they need to improve on. And since it's just kind of a shorter season, they will know, all right, this is what I need to do in the offseason. Hopefully we'll jump up early next year. It is sad to kind of see, the other minor league guys that maybe didn't get picked. They don't get that chance to really develop too much this year.
Mm-hmm.
And so just trying to see kind of the divide between the players who will end up playing this year and the players who will end up just kind of working out and maybe just sitting at the complexes.
Yeah. And I think it's looking at how the transactions and the procedures work for it. Like when you first look at it, it's kind of confusing because you have your big league team. So it starts off with 30 players and then eventually gets whittled down to 27 or 26 after a month.
And there's like 3 transit guys.
When you're on the
taxi.
road, yeah. When you travel on the road, you get a 3-man taxi squad, and one of them must be a catcher. And then it's more or less you have your 26-man roster, and then just your little minor league camp, so to speak. And so all the same rules apply of swapping guys out, sending them down, and all those things. So that's going to be the weird part of it. Think of, well, if you're not on the 40-man roster, but you're in the players' camp, part of the 60-man, well, there has to be room on the 40-man for you to get onto that team to get to the big league club. And so may seem a little confusing, but it's interesting, at least kind of what you guys are saying.
I'm excited.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
I want to know how much coverage, though, we'll get from these summer camps. And if we're going to be able to get any footage or whatever as time comes up. Have they even said anything about who will be broadcasting the games during the season?
I think it's the regular broadcasting teams because they designated tiers. So there's like several tiers of what you have to designate for like people there. So like tier 1 is like people who have to interact with the players, have access to them. So it's like the regular players on the field and maybe trainers, like people like
clubhouse guys, trainers.
Yeah. And then like your third tier would be like broadcast people, just people who have no contact with the players at all, really. So like your janitors and custodial people and broadcasters.
Yeah.
Clubhouse managers.
Yeah.
Most important calling in all of baseball.
So like things like that, they'll have them designated. So I think the regular television broadcast people will be doing stuff. It's just going to be Probably a lot more condensed, locked down, spaced out. You're going to have somebody at Coors Field in the rock pile seats to be socially distanced doing their broadcasting. That's like the highest part of the field. The cheap seats.
Jeez.
Coors! So I think that'll be interesting. August 31st will be the trade deadline.
Which is, what, 30 days we
Yeah,
have?
a month.
We have like 30 days in. Okay, do we want to trade or not?
Yeah, that's
And
that's
the
some-
biggest issue is you usually do minor league players who are in lower levels. No one has seen a lot of these guys this year, so if you're doing it, you're going to have to do it based off of old information, which is something you'll have to think about.
Well, and the other interesting thing will be, right, because like I think a lot of these teams that know they don't really have a chance, they might be looking to offload people just to save money. And so I think within that 30 days, you're just going to see some of the bigger name people. I've heard Chris Bryant's name kind of on the chop block there that they might try to send him out and get him somewhere
Nolan
so they
Arenado?
can save some money.
No.
No, and like I saw things of there's nothing to prevent them because people have to be on the 60-man pool in order to be able to be traded. And so you may see teams putting high prospects or trade chips thrown onto those pools just so they can trade them off and bring in guys that they want. But let me just see, like 30 days, what decisions are you going to make in 30 days? Because we usually don't see a whole lot of moves, the first 30 days into a season.
No one makes moves that early because you have still 130 more games to play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this year is definitely going to be like 0 to 100 real quick.
Yeah.
I would, if I were a team, unless I'm guaranteed out of the playoffs, so I'm saying Kansas City Royals, the Colorado Rockies.
No.
The Detroit Tigers.
Marlins. Those guys, right? I'm guessing right now a lot of those teams are already thinking of who we can trade and how we can do that because their rosters really weren't set up. A lot of these teams are building. Not the Rockies are just not going to win.
They're in denial.
They're denying the fact that they're not great. And so these teams, I think that they're already going into this thinking, who could we get?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and something I was thinking about, I talked about this on the Sideline Crowd Sim broadcast. You can find a playlist on YouTube. Listen to my voice.
Listen to Skylar broadcast over MLB The Show 20.
And it's just as infuriating watching those Rockies. But I kind of talked and thought of it like, I wonder how teams are going to approach, you have 60 games, 60-game window to try and make it to the playoffs. Guys like the Rockies, they have Ian Desmond, who has struggled, yet they keep throwing him out there every single day doing nothing. At what point, you only have 60 games, you want to put out the best possible lineup. And how often are we going to see maybe some of those really struggling guys who maybe are on a bigger contract who have just really been struggling? How often are you going to maybe see them get sidelined a little bit, put in one of these top prospects or put in somebody there who can produce consistently? That's something I'm really interested to see of how will teams kind of approach this because it's a lot more urgency with the 60-game season.
The strategy behind everything, too, is completely different. You have 60 games. That's about 12 games per starter. You could go 4 starters. So teams who have really good starters, you have New York, the Nationals, for instance, who are like 4 starters deep. Even Houston's kind of that situation now with Lance McCullers coming back. You are able to not have to rely too much on your bullpen as much. Your bullpen's better. Maybe those other days you put bullpen days in between your starters or whatever. So you have 4 quality starts, and you just go with 4 starters instead of 5 like we have in the past.
Yeah, so I just wonder what the tolerance will be for guys that aren't producing, like bullpen guys or a starter. Hey, they've gotten lit up 2 starts in a row. Are we going to put them out there for that third start, or bringing in somebody else?
Oh, the leash will be tiny for these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. Except for the Dodgers, they just have way too many good guys.
They just have way too many players. They're in such a great position that it's hurting them. It's such a hard. Oh man, to be a Dodgers fan would be great. Haven't won a World Series in over 30 years.
Plus, we're going to get a ton of ejections when we play the Astros. There might be some fines and suspensions.
Hey, don't let this whole shortened baseball season distract you from the fact that Astros cheated.
They're on their shame tour.
And the Red Sox and possibly the Yankees.
And possibly the Yankees, yeah.
Hey, let's not forget that the Nationals won the World Series either, guys. Come on.
No, we can forget that. We're over that already.
Oh, you might be, but let's go. We're defending champs.
Skylar, I have a question, I guess, to pose. I mean, I personally, if the Dodgers won the World Series this year, I wouldn't feel as satisfied. I mean,
that's what I was.
Feel like if your team was going to win, or whoever wins, do you feel like there should be an asterisk next to the name?
If the Astros win, definitely no one doesn't even come close to counting. Even their fans shouldn't even count it either. Any other team, you can kind of consider it one and be like, hey, like we kind of won.
Yeah.
The Marlins.
It's like winning the President's Trophy in hockey, where you get like the best record or whatever. It's basically like you did the best at the worst season ever.
Yeah. No,
it's like cool, but it doesn't mean much.
Glad you brought that up, Nathan, because that was something I was going to ask. And I know, like, I think one thing I am excited for is, my always view of it is like, yeah, it probably doesn't have as much of an impact of this grueling marathon, maybe for the Major League Baseball season, 162 games, and then you got to trudge your way and then really make it count in August, September, and then fight through the playoffs. But when you cut that down 60 games, yeah, it's probably not as big of a accomplishment. But I think a lot of what happens with baseball is what time do you get hot? The right team gets hot at the right time in September. So like the Nationals get hot at the right time after they turn things around and then manage to fight their way through the playoffs and win a World Series. How will that play out differently as if, we had the Nationals that started out the 2019 season? They wouldn't really be in the playoffs this year for the 60-game season.
Well, they win 19 and 31. That's 50 games right there, and you're already selling at half those games.
Yeah.
And you've already considered we give up on the season, and you're not even close to being at your peak.
Yeah.
I think you said it there, Skylar, because you said most people are preparing for the marathon that is a baseball season where, minor league guys are playing like, what is it, 68 games or something like that, or 72 games? I can't remember anymore. But like they're playing that many games. So they're playing what this season is going to turn into, where these major league guys have worked out and prepared for these like long slogs of a season. And now it's just going to be full sprint like the whole time, which I think could actually make for some great baseball.
Oh, it's a sprint now. We're just playing Pioneer League baseball, short season baseball.
Yeah.
I know for the Rockies, Andrelton out there, he was sprinting.
All-time Oral Mowell.
I know for the Rockies, they're usually good for about like 2 months, and then like maybe half of May then like half of May or June. Then it's always the June swoon, and then they just go woo, and
then the baseballs start flying out of the stadium.
Yeah,
but it's not their bats.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah, and so like I wonder, some of those teams, I would be interested to see the opportunity of teams like the Marlins, the Orioles, or even the Rockies, maybe some of these teams that always struggle because they just can't maintain a momentum past a certain amount of time because of injuries or players just fall off the map and other teams get better. And so maybe giving everybody kind of that same starting point and see what happens in that short amount of sprint, race to the finish, so to speak. So like Connor was saying, that could be some very exciting baseball.
Maybe we'll see a game 61.
Yeah.
There'll be someone
we could only hope.
Game 61. Hey, but at least there's no all-star game at Dodger Stadium this year.
We will all applaud to that.
You got him.
That's a Dodgers joke.
Only in MLB The Show.
That will be the all-star, was just have the players play MLB The Show.
Yeah. Home Run Derby.
Home Run Derby.
Or no, they'll have them do Home Run Derby, but on that mobile app game.
Oh, yeah.
So they have to slide it and...
RBI baseball.
Oh, no.
Top Sports.
Oh, gosh. I say just do backyard baseball.
A wiffle ball.
It was on Pablo.
Of course.
Okay, so we're kind of winding down to the end here. So I always wanted to end this. You guys wanted to do some bold predictions our hot takes for the season. So
Yeah.
give you a second to think about that here. Think about it for a second, as I'll kind of mention this of hopefully you guys are always welcome to help out with the Sideline Crowd, be on podcasts and stuff. But podcast, we'll try and record this at least once a week. The show, maybe I'll try and get some guests and whatnot. So we continue to figure this out and everything with the season coming up.
I got my bold prediction.
All right, we'll get there in a second.
Oh, let's go.
Ooh, okay. So yeah,
I'm just ready to get it out.
Support us here on the Sideline Crowd. All right, some bold predictions. We'll start with Quinn.
Okay, the Lotte Giants of my Korean baseball organization will come back from our 6th place, and we will be in the playoff contention and ready to take on the Korean series.
Don't you have to get into the top 4?
Yeah,
in
there's
the
only 8
Korean
teams.
baseball league.
There's 8 teams, so
You have to figure out how to say "Go Giants" in Korean before you can start saying stuff like that.
that's a lot of work.
It's 2 words.
Go Giants. I'll figure that out. Well, that's for another time. Also, I think the Yankees are going to win it. Unfortunately, as much as I hate to say this, they're just built for this.
Yeah,
That's true.
their trainer is built for this. Their players are literally built to play 60 games. That outfield before they get broken.
Yeah, it's their veteran team is mixed with some young guys, so they're just ready for this.
Yep. I'm actually going to say something a little bit of the opposite. I'm going to say someone like that was like 2nd or 3rd in their division last year is just going to come out of nowhere and win it all. Just because, like we were saying, like the MLB season is so long that like teams just like float up and down a lot for the most part. So I'm waiting to see someone like a Oakland A's or a Milwaukee or like, decent teams that are always like pretty good, or the Diamondbacks or somebody just comes out of nowhere and just like wins it all when no one's really thinking of them because they're just thinking of like the powerhouse teams.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Nathan?
I hate to say this, but I think the Angels and I think Mike Trout might actually get a chance to play in the postseason.
Whoa!
Might be able to do well.
Oh, what?
I don't know. Like, obviously, it's shorter season, so they can run it a little bit better, and with Shohei back a little bit healthier, they might be able to do well. So I think that'd be pretty fun.
The Kings of LA
predictions.
will be good in Anaheim.
Yeah,
They got a
Los
really
Angeles
good
Angels.
The
third
Los
baseman.
Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
Stars of Angels in the outfield, which is not
Ooh.
on Disney Plus.
and Angels
Ooh.
in the infield.
Oh,
Oh, gosh, no.
Starring Patrick Warburton.
No.
And the Angels, they have a really good third baseman now. What's his name, Quinn?
We don't talk about things like that. I haven't. Baseball has been so long since we've had news. I just don't even remember.
Quick note. Quick note with Shohei Ohtani. I think I saw the thing like the Angels are going to go with a 6-man rotation, and Ohtani's going to pitch once a week.
Gosh.
So there you go.
Smart move.
Good for him. And who knows how long Albert Pujols' knees will hold out.
No.
Yeah, well, I mean, speaking of their elite third baseman, I mean, Angels are going to Angel, and they are paying way too much for way too long for a guy that's going to give them a few good years. Let's just
He's
put it
a
that
terrible
way.
third baseman, whatever his name is. I don't know who it is.
Although I texted you guys about this, though, they actually took a pitcher in the first round. What?
That's
What?
how long has it been since that?
That was
Like
big.
4 years.
I mean, at least 3 or 4 years, like since I've been sort of following them, because every year it's been an outfielder or an outfielder.
Or an infielder
Or an
that immediately
infielder.
gets traded to the
Or an
Giants.
infielder.
Exactly.
Yeah.
An outfielder or Will Wilson. That's it.
But no, that is pretty interesting. I was really excited to see that pitcher, though. Kind of the whole thing, if he worries about command first, then velocity. It's
Mhm.
kind of the old school mentality as a pitcher. I was really excited to watch that and maybe get to know
Not the
him if he was
Quinn
with
Denny
the
philosophy of
Owls. Yeah, he was actually a pitcher, not a thrower.
Like me? Come on.
Real quick before I do my hot take, what were your feelings about how your team did in the draft?
Good.
Yeah, I felt good
All
overall.
right.
As good as you could do with 5 rounds.
Yeah.
True.
Like, we
Yeah.
got a pitcher. They think he's going to be great. from Oklahoma, a late first-round pick, and then we got our compensation pick for that third baseman that I don't remember what his name is, going to the Angels. So,
like the Rockies.
I was actually surprised how many high schoolers the Cardinals took in those 5 rounds. Because there was
Rockies did too.
I think it was like 2 or 3 out of the 5 that the Cardinals took straight out of high school. So it was interesting.
Yeah, I think the Rockies had like 3 out of the 6 that were high school. Some of the top prospect high school, the outfielder that we got, Zach Veen, just this big gangly kid. They compare him to like Cody Bellinger, Christian Yelich, and we got him signed. They're still trying to sign that catcher they drafted, but that guy's committed, I think, to LSU, and so that's
it was the most high school players picked in the first 5 rounds. In history. So that could be one thing. Either high school players are getting better, which they definitely are, or one thing I saw circulating was MLB teams maybe kind of like balking on this draft, picking guys knowing that they won't sign them so that they can save money and then even just worry about next year.
Yeah. Could be. But yeah, I think overall, sounds like all 4 of us are pretty happy with how our teams did. All right, let's see. What was I going to say? So my bold prediction, I think the Reds are going to make a run for it this year. They made a lot of improvements. They got Nick Castellanos. They got Mike Moustakas.
To go along with who they already have.
Joey Votto.
Joey Votto, Sonny Gray. They have Trevor Bauer. They have Luis Castillo. And they're pitching, catching. Tucker Barnhart, I believe, still there.
They got a chance.
They're one of those teams where they're like either they'll do really good, whether it be 40 wins, or really bad, whether it be 20 wins.
Yeah. So who knows? But that's my bold prediction. I think the Reds are going to make a run for it. Them and maybe the White Sox.
Oh.
That is bold.
And the Rockies will lose. We'll go 30-30.
That's not a bad year.
That's good for them.
30-30.
Yeah, it's better than they did last year.
You'd be in.
Maybe they'll make an ESPN documentary out of it.
30 for 30, the Coors effect.
And then I'll trade Nolan Arenado on my MLB The Show franchise and
cry.
See what I get.
And cry when you see what you get.
Hey, the game traded Ian Desmond away to the Yankees for Zach Britton.
Okay, that game's broken.
It did it on its own. I didn't do anything. I got Michael Lorenzen for like a minor league first baseman.
Wow.
He was only the number 1 overall minor league player. I stole him.
I did.
I got rid of that guy. Who needs him?
Pretty fun stuff. But yeah, excited for the season to come back. Be interesting to see what happens. Good stuff. But that'll do it here on the Sideline Crowd. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. It's been fun getting back, chatting baseball.
Anytime.
Yeah.
All right.
You guys are always welcome back here on the Sideline Crowd because it's usually just me.
Oh.
And I want more friends.
It's definitely a lot more comfortable than suite number 2.
Oh, this one has AC.
Yeah.
None of us are wearing pants.
Oh.
I'm still
not like I wore pants back then either.
But we all had to wear shirts this time around.
Don't have a
said I didn't
rag
have
on.
to.
But thank you so much for joining us. That's all the time we've got here on the first episode of the new season of the Sideline Crowd. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. I'm your host, Skylar Timmons, and joining me has been Quentin Denny.
What's going on?
Connor Hughes.
See you, boys.
And Nathan Price.
Present.
Alrighty. Take care, guys.